Sweet. All right, so that brings us into our main topic. This week, we're diving into the most expensive games in our collection. And not only that, are they worth those high price tags? We didn't give any stipulation of like stick to
Mhm.
a system. So if we're collecting for multiple different systems, then we're going to have different games for that. We each chose 5 games in our collection.
Yeah.
I think that was the stipulation, and we did say no special editions. Dave had some, so they might be like an honorable mention we could kind
Mhm.
of bring up, but just a game by itself. And of course, I mean, I assume you guys are, but I use pricecharting.com to gauge what
Yeah.
these games are worth.
Same. Who wants to go
Oh, yeah.
first? We going
Take
from
it
like
away,
5 to
Russ.
1 on each?
Right. Yeah, we'll do our least expensive
Okay, cool.
first.
Sweet.
So build the
Well,
anticipation.
why don't you go first, Russ?
Okay. Sounds good. So let's see. We kind of almost talked about this game, but it was the predecessor. I had just recently live streamed this and made a video about that, and we are talking about the original Silent Hill
Mhm.
on PlayStation 1. This game is currently charted at $224,
Wow.
which I'm like, wow. I had seen this at the swap meet at Algo. One of the guys had it and he had seen the price and I'm like, really? Like this is
Mhm.
my original copy. What's great
Yeah.
is it's got a little crack in the case here. I'm gonna open it up and on the inside, right here, I have a piece of paper that I had print it. I doubt you'll be able to see it if you're watching, but it's like codes and stuff for like the game, like where to go
Nice.
or what to look for. So like I probably looked that up in the cyber cafe at school, printed this out, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna beat this game. Um, Going back to it was great because I had just beaten Silent Hill 2, the remaster, and I wanted to go back, play the original Silent Hill, and this was me
Mhm.
getting all into I just got the Retro Tink 5X, which is an upscaler, so I use that for my streaming purposes, and then I had just gotten, like, good quality cables, for my PS2, so I had put it into my PS2 to play it because it was just easier for the cables to upscale it, and we went through, I think it was 3 streams. I think I beat
Mhm.
it in, like, 6 hours. It's a short game. It looks a little muddy, okay. I mean, even with the quality, going back, it's a little rough. The story's there though. The story's there, the atmosphere, like the creepiness,
Mhm.
and it was a good competitor to Resident Evil back then. Now, I have no clue why they remastered Silent Hill 2 before Silent Hill 1. Like, why'd they jump ahead? So
Mhm.
whether they're gonna go 1 or remaster 3, who knows what the future holds, but I think you could still play this, if you have a I think they said if you have a PS3, you can still download this on, like, the
Oh,
PlayStation Store and play it
Wow.
interesting.
if you don't wanna
Hmm.
pay $224 for or, I mean, just get it wherever and emulate it. I think it's still
Right.
worth it to go back 20 years later. I did a
Yeah.
video again on my YouTube channel talking about this game, and, I was happy that I still had my original copy.
Nice. And that's at 225, and that's your number 5.
Right, that's my number 5, so
Jeez.
can imagine what my number 1 will be. Stick around
Wow.
to the end.
All right.
Right?
Keith, you wanna go?
Sure. All right. One, two, three, four, and five. So number five is going to be. I know you've got this one in box
Nice.
here. DuckTales 2, and DuckTales 2 sits price charting. Let me see if I can make this work real quick. DuckTales 2 sits at about 277 loose in American
Wow.
dinero. So pick
We
this one
we
up. Got this one
appreciate the
for a really
conversion.
good deal. Right? I got this one for a really good deal from my buddy Ryan. He's got a store here next to Video Games, and he hooked me up with a smoking deal. Really excited to have this one in my collection. Just basically the second DuckTales. It's almost the same gameplay as the first one with a couple add-ons, and just
Yeah.
because it was late release, a little more pricey. So number five for me is DuckTales 2 Loose.
Mm.
I will say to hop in, I still prefer the first DuckTales over this. I live
Me
streamed
too.
DuckTales
Me too.
2
Same.
uh,
Same.
past year, and they switched it up a little bit with some of the things like you said, and I'm like, I don't know, why fix what
Yeah.
wasn't broke type thing?
Right.
I mean, I get, yeah, you're trying to switch it up a little bit with the second one, but maybe that's why it ended up being more expensive because a lot of people maybe they rented it, didn't like it, so
Hmm.
then no one bought the game, drove the
Yeah,
price
and it
up.
would have been I think it was a late release title on the
Yep.
NES, so that
Mhm.
normally jacks the price up a little bit on them. All of mine are gonna be NES games. Just gonna tell you
Cool.
straight out and early.
There you go.
Did you do that by choice, or is that just how it worked out?
I did that by choice, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Figured I
And
was
it, oh,
watching
and it,
NES, let's go for that.
I say just to make sure we preface it too, because the topic was most expensive and is it worth it? I forget if I
Yes.
didn't come off, but it was worth it. I'd say for Silent Hill, yes. Is it worth the price, Keith, for DuckTales 2?
Probably not. I think the first one is, like you said, the
Mm.
first one is better. I would pick it over this one. Just because it's a very late release, does it make it worth that? Probably not. No.
Okay, perfect.
So DuckTales 2 just missed my list.
Oh, okay.
So my number 5 is an NES game, and I don't know if
Ooh,
you have this, Keith, but it runs at $290.17, and that is Mighty Final Fight,
nice.
if
Capcom
it'll
game.
focus. There you go. Now, Russ, do you remember when I got this game?
Was it at Too Many Games?
This is the same day that you licked a pole.
That's right. That's out of
Do you know about
context.
that story?
That didn't come out right.
It is what it is, though. Maybe Russ can
No, I
throw in a little
sure
clip
don't.
here. Yeah. But, yeah, so I got this from the Bad Graphics Gamers, which I haven't seen at a con lately. It's a beat 'em up. It's kinda like a little chibi,
Right.
version of Final Fight. It's fun. It kinda reminds you of Double Dragon a little bit. It's got very similar gameplay. Uh, when I got it, I think it was around 190, so it has jumped up about $100 since then.
Yeah.
Um, is it worth it? I'm not so sure.
Okay.
I'm not so sure. I know I'm frozen here, so I'm hoping I'm not gonna. There we go. There we
You're
go. We're
back.
back. All right, StreamYard, stay with me here.
Stay
Stay
with
with
us.
me. Um, I don't think it's worth the 290 personally. I don't know if you guys have played it.
No, I haven't.
No.
Yeah, I might have played it once, but I would be perfectly fine just emulating it, playing on my NES, like
Yeah.
EverDrive or whatever.
Honestly, you're better off playing Double Dragon. That's just
Okay.
my opinion. The graphics are great, but gameplay wise, I prefer Double Dragon.
Okay.
So that was my number 5.
Fair
Back to you,
enough.
Russ.
Back to me. We'll see how this counts. I did put some of these games here that I have with cart and manual added to price to kind of boost the
Yeah.
price because they have the manual price as well on price charting. So that kind of boosts the value. Don't have a complete box, but it is loose. So coming in at $264 together is Waterworld for the Virtual Boy, baby.
Nice.
Wow. There you go.
I can honestly say I haven't played this game, so I'm unsure what it plays like. I've seen footage of it. Um, it's all red and black because you're on the Virtual Boy.
Right.
Yeah.
Unclear that it's going to be a good game. I have seen bad reviews on it. I don't
Mhm.
know. The movie was okay, but translating to
It
the Virtual Boy, I don't
is
know.
it based on the movie?
Yeah, yeah, like you're in water, like going around
Okay.
on a boat and stuff. Because in the movie, it's all water. Um,
The question
def
is, do you drink your own pee in the game?
we will never know.
Necessary. Is it necessary for me to drink my own urine?
Well, I mean, so Russ, you do own that game. You haven't played it, but tell people why you have that game and the manual.
Right. Well, I did end up doing a deal with someone this was now a few years ago.
Yeah.
My goal was to get a full set of Virtual Boy games, and some guy was selling a whole set with the console itself, and he happened to have the manual as well with them. So I ended up scoring that. So I was like, sweet, why not? Give it a go. I'm a Virtual Boy enthusiast, so definitely not worth the price, I will say, for sure. But made the
Fair.
list.
Nice.
All right. So sticking with Nintendo, it's like the same price. It might actually, depending on the moment of the day, be like $1 less than DuckTales 2. But number
Okay.
2 is going to be Gun Knack
Oh,
on the
okay.
NES.
Okay.
So that one sits at loose price $276. So the last two are right together. This is a shoot 'em up, and it is kind of a goofy shoot 'em up. You got like rabbits shooting carrots at you, stuff
Oh,
like
okay.
that, and it's actually a lot of fun. It's zany and it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I got this one from Travis Woodman, Woodman Classics.
Oh,
Check him
nice.
out if you haven't. And is it worth $276 and change? Probably not. I'm not a big shoot 'em up fan normally, but I did enjoy this one.
Okay.
Would I pay that much? Probably not. Is it good to have in my collection? Yeah, I think so. If you haven't tried it,
Okay.
it's definitely worth checking out. Emulate it, see it because it is a little zany. There's like carrots. If you can see that with that cover on there. See, there's
Yeah, yeah.
carrots these that are coming at them and stuff. Yeah, it's a different type of shoot 'em up. It doesn't seem quite as aggressive as some of the other ones on the Nintendo. So, got knack.
And what was
Nice.
that price at?
$276.
Okay. So right around the same as DuckTales 2.
Basically the same, yeah, as the other
Yeah.
sections too.
Nice.
Okay. All right. So my number 4 is another NES game. This one goes for, let me see here, $362.22.
Okay. Got a
And
good
that
jump.
is Bubble Bobble 2.
Nice. Lot of sequels here. The DuckTales 2,
Yeah.
Bubble Bobble
Yeah.
2.
So I got this. I forgot where exactly it came from. It was at a game store. I remember I did a big trade in, and they had it on the shelf, and I was like, well, if I'm trading in, I might as well just try to get something big. I want to say this is a game that like really hasn't increased or decreased in value too much. I want to say it. I think when I got it, it was around 300 maybe. So it hasn't really gone up much, and I've had this for quite a while.
Okay.
It is definitely not worth the price. Uh, Bubble Bobble 1 is the far superior game in my personal opinion. So I would say save an extra $360 and
Play the
buy
first one.
maybe like 30 copies of Bubble Bobble 1 instead.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And that's the loose price.
Loose price. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Back to me. We're actually going to do an NES game. This one is complete in box. So this did make my number 3 because had I priced Waterworld as a loose copy solo, it would have been $209. But with the added manual, $55 for the manual was 264. This comes in at 260 for a complete in box, and this may be on Dave's list as well. We got Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
It is not on my list.
Oh, okay. Nice. So it'll be interesting to see. No matches so
Yeah.
far.
No,
No
no.
matches.
Because what was that at? How much? 280
60.
something?
No, I think it was in the 260. I
Is
have
it
it
the
at.
5 is it the 5 screw?
I don't think. We'll
Because if
open
it's
it
the
up here real
5
quick.
screw, it's way more expensive.
Now I
Yeah.
will stipulate I don't have the letter. Okay, so maybe this is like what 240. Then
It's
take out
fine.
for the letter. I'm missing that. I'm wondering if there's a file somewhere online I could just print the letter. All right, I
I'm sure
won't
you
look. I'm just
can.
gonna put it at the camera. What do we got? What do we got? 3 screw.
No, sorry. Yeah, look up the 5 screw. The 5 screw is woo, it's up there. But yeah, that one missed my list because that was around like you said, 260 something. Yeah.
Is it worth 260? I'd say it's
Yeah,
pretty close. Like, having it in the box, okay, that's
yeah.
what we're going with, like, this is such an iconic image with Mike Tyson right
Yeah.
on there.
Mhm,
Looks great on the shelf, like, iconic, like, pictures on this gameplay, like, when this came out, he was, like, this up and coming superstar boxing, and you're like, "Oh, man, definitely check this one out." And I remember, renting it at the store, playing it, having a blast. It's basically like a rhythm fighting game, the way you break it down because you have to, dodge at certain times, throw punches at certain
mhm.
times. I'd say it's worth it. Glad to have it in my collection. Hopefully, could track down a letter.
There you go.
I do also own a complete in box, and I agree with you that it is completely worth it.
All right, back in the sleeve it goes.
Tuck it away. Tuck it away. All right. So my number 3 is going to be, I'm going to pull this one out of its sleeve because we need to look at the cover for this one. It's going to be, let me pull this up. Let me Dragon Fighter on the NES,
Mm,
which
Oh,
sits at
okay.
$325. It is
wow.
actually a pretty good game. It's like side scroller, like platformer style game, and then you can turn into
Okay.
the dragon and you can change the color of your armor and it'll change the different dragons you are, and they all have different attacks. When
Yeah,
you turn
yeah.
into the dragon, it's like a shoot 'em up. It's like a vertical moving
Yeah.
shoot 'em up, and it is actually
Nice.
pretty cool. The label on this, the box art on this, it looks
Mhm,
so weird though. Like it's almost got like a pastelly art style to it.
Right. It's very muted with the
mhm.
colors.
Yeah, so when you see it like in the store, you're like, is that gonna be worth it? I think it's a fun game. Is it worth $325? Loose, probably not. It doesn't have that Mike Tyson nostalgia factor that
Mhm.
brings
Right.
that value up to folks like us. It's one that is a fun game if you can find it. If you can find it for cheap or even say the dirty word and emulate it, it's worth playing because it is a
Okay.
fun game and it does have a really nice look to it.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's one of those ones that is worth checking out on the NES that you don't hear a lot about, but is a lot of fun. So Dragon
Cool.
Fighter is my number 3.
Number
Is
3.
that similar to Life Force?
No, because Life Force, you are just shoot 'em up, right?
Right.
Right, right.
This one's got like literally your like side scrolling platformer type
Okay.
of game kind of, and then when
Then you turn
you
into
have enough
dragon.
power, you turn into the dragon,
Oh,
and
I
then
see.
it's like forced vertical, and you're blasting guys until you power out, and then back to the knife, and you're fighting your way through them again, right? So you got to
So
kind
it's
of time when
basically
using the
like
dragon.
so it sounds like Blaster Master for the sky, because Blaster Master
Kind of,
get into
yeah.
the car and drive
You're playing
around.
as the character. It's like it looks like kind of it has that like Mario look to it or whatever. And you go from there, and then you're change over to the dragon, and it forces you to side scroll shooter, and then
All
back to
right.
him. So you got to kind of time the use of that for sure. But fun game.
Okay, nice. My number 3 is an interesting one. I did the same thing as Russ where I have the manual, I have the game, but I think what I have adds a little extra value to it. The price charting on it is $456.18.
Okay.
That's with cart and manual. So let me show you the cart and manual here. And that is Tournament Fighters.
Okay. Teenage
So
Mutant Ninja
Nice.
Turtle
initial,
Tournament
yeah.
Fighters.
Now, the reason I say that something increases the value is because I have something with this game that you don't ever see. This is a Blockbuster Video rental.
Case.
Nice.
So it actually has like this is the Tournament Fighters
Yeah, it says it
case
on
Yeah.
it,
that you
Tournament
rented
Fighters,
it.
like, that's the original rental
Right.
case.
And the serial number matches the one of the box, and the serial number on the manual also matches the box. So it actually came
Nice.
from it's all inclusive. I only priced it based on price charting for the game and manual.
You're right.
But this is probably like one of my most prized possessions of my
That's
game
cool. Yeah.
collection. Yeah, because I mean, when are you ever gonna see this? And because it's a high ticket game, it's a little bit, and it's Ninja Turtles too. So like being a Ninja Turtle fan, this is really cool to have with the Blockbuster case. Is it worth it? Absolutely 100% not. It is a not it is not a good game, guys. It's a fighter, but it is not a good game. It came out at the very end of the NES
Mhm.
library. It also is on Genesis. It also is on Super Nintendo, and they are a better game on those systems. This is like very dumbed down. Um, it's in my opinion, it's not really that fun. But like I said, it's Ninja Turtles. It's a blockbuster, so you got all your nostalgia wrapped up into one.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
so that is my number three.
Nice. Good variety, I would say we have in this list going too. Do we wanna do should we stop here? Should we complete the list, then see what the viewers are saying?
Sounds like a good
Yeah.
idea.
I think we give us your 2s. Everyone give us the number 2,
Okay, and we'll wait
and
on
then
number 1.
we'll talk about number 1, and then we'll answer Bryce's question based on number 1 is what do we think the value of our number 1 game actually should be?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Do
So
you wanna do
take the
that?
value. So it's take the value of the actual value, but say what we actually think it's
Think
worth.
it's
What do
worth.
you think it's actually worth? It's our most expensive game in our collection.
Mm.
Bryce asked,
Oh,
"What do we think the games are should actually be worth?"
I see,
Let's
okay.
I
ask
see.
that on our
Interesting.
first one.
Interesting.
So we could throw the viewer questions in before or not?
Yeah, I would say let's do it.
Alright, cool. We'll see what you guys had to say then.
What did you say? What did you say?
Springfield, let's hear from you.
Let's hear from you guys. We got over on our YouTube community page here. We got a couple comments. Another bald nerd says, currently the most expensive game in my collection is the physical edition of Worms WMD, put out by Super Rare Games for the Switch, followed by Super Mario 3D All Stars Collection on the Switch. I had wished he put the prices. I did look up Super Mario 3D All Stars to see if that was expensive in my collection, but it's around, I'd say $100 or
Yeah.
so for that
Yeah.
one.
It's because it was very limited. Switch didn't print a lot of those, and then once they were gone, they were gone. They never re-released it.
Yeah.
But you're just gonna bring that price up as the time goes by, right?
Sure, sure, yeah. Especially if they don't have it, like, on a virtual console or something like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got the Unlikely Toad. I have a retro USB Retrovision cart for the NES. Probably top 3 in my collection. Worth it? No, especially when in comparison to the price versus the Super Game Boy. But who can actually say they play Game Boy games on their NES?
Well, they
Not
play
many
it on
people.
their Super Nintendo, right?
Super
Well, I
NES,
guess what he's saying,
Super Game
this
Boy, yeah.
this retro USB Retrovision cart lets you do that on NES.
Oh, interesting.
Believe that's what he's getting at. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And my collection of video games 642 says Little Samson. Yes. I guess if it's worth it, he's just saying yes. Splatterhouse. You can get the cheaper version on Xbox 360. So he must mean Splatterhouse on TurboGrafx.
Mm.
Um, and Silent Hill 2 remake is amazing on the PS5. So maybe he's suggesting
Oh, you know what
Silent
he's
Hill
doing?
2.
He's looking at our post. So those are the 3 games on our post.
Oh, I see. Yes. So if you scroll up here, it
Yeah.
shows these 3 here. So that's
Yes.
what
Yeah.
he
So
was.
he's
Are they
answering the
worth the high
question.
price? So Little Samson's worth it. Yes. Splatterhouse, just get the 360 version and just get Silent Hill 2 remake on the PS5 instead of the original. So
Okay, that's fair.
there we go. That's good. And then we also have Instagram as well. So if you guys aren't following us on our social medias, you guys can do that. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and the YouTube community page. We post on there weekly as well. Let's see. We got Ty's Gaming and Collecting says, for retro games, my most expensive is a CIB copy of Batman Beyond on the N64. for more current, I have Baldur's Gate 3 Deluxe Edition. And the only game I have held on to since it first came out is Pokemon Black 2 for the
Hmm.
Nintendo DS. And Jay Geeky says, I don't know, SNES to GBA. I'm not sure what he's referring to there, but
Yes, I'm not
But
sure.
he says it a lot, it looks like.
that's true. He did come back with a lot. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's what they're jumping into. I think there's a few voicemails as well. If we kind of want to jump around and hear those, or should we go to our number twos? We'll say our number twos,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do
jump in
those.
there. We're off the hook on this week's episode. We're making our own rules.
Right?
Coming in number two for $752 on my list.
Woo!
So you can imagine what number
Big
one will
money.
be. This did make it on a few of lists that I had, but to no surprise, we got Chrono Trigger complete in box copy right here. This is my childhood copy from back in the day. It's got all the posters in it, the two posters, the game cart, all the jazz in there. Definitely love this game growing up, playing it, a classic. If you don't want to pay the high price tag, almost made my list. There's the version on the DS, which is like $100 something for
Wow.
that version. And it's the same game, but with added cutscenes that were on the PlayStation version. But certainly this classic one, this is gonna be a tough one of if it's worth it. Is it worth $752 worth it? That's hard to say. Probably most will say best RPG of all time. Um, I guess if you have that nostalgia for it, it may be worth it. I mean, you're still under $1,000, I guess, right? So that,
So, here, look at it this way, Russ. It's worth 700 and some dollars, you said?
yeah,
Mm.
752.
If you didn't have that copy, that childhood copy of yours, if it
Right.
was taken away from you right now, and you found that childhood copy of yours, and
Ooh,
that was the
okay.
price tag, would you pay it?
See, I like how Keith puts it in perspective there. Looking at it like that, I'd probably say yeah. I probably would say yeah. I'd probably maybe sell some stuff to kind of
Mhm.
eat the cost some rather than just straight out pay it. Like, okay, maybe I'll sell some other games I don't play as much, do some custom consoles and sell those to make a profit and pay it. So, all right. Yeah, we'll go. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Which I think would a lot of us, if you could go back and you think about it, your childhood copy of a game or something like that, if you could go back to and get that exact copy,
Mhm.
would you pay the price now? And I think a lot of us probably would do our best to get a hold of that childhood copy again, right? But that being said, number two for me, my number two gonna be Wacky Races on the NES.
Okay.
Worth $347. It's a fun game. It's
Yeah.
not a great game. I like it because I remember I emulated it when I was a kid. I remember having, like, an old IBM computer, and it was, like, one of the first games I ever emulated. I would have been, like, 17 or 18, and playing it and thinking it was super cool because we used to watch the Wacky Races cartoons. We had the VHSs of those.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And I really enjoyed it. So, when this one came up on eBay and I got it for, like, $200 or something like that, I managed to
Mhm.
snatch it for, it was worth it to me at the time because I had those nostalgic memories on it. Is it worth it as a whole? Probably not worth 325 or $347, probably not, but it's a good game, it's a fun game. I would say emulate it, but that's my number 2.
Nice.
All right. Well, my number 2 is, one of my absolute all-time favorite NES games. Um, and the price tag on it right now sits at $649.98. The reason for it is because I have a sealed copy of it.
Oh, okay.
and that is River City Ransom on the
Nice.
NES. So I purchased this um several years ago. I don't remember how long ago it was. It might have been 8 or 9 years ago at this point. I picked this up on eBay for $150. And even then, when I purchased it, I was like, can I really afford $150 like on a sealed game? And like you guys were just talking about, the reason I bought it and pulled the trigger is because it is my favorite NES game and has been my favorite NES game since I have, and I still have my original copy as when I was growing up. So is this, I mean, okay, now we have to put things into perspective here because this is $650 for a sealed game.
Sealed game, yeah.
Right. The loose cart is only around what, $50, $40, somewhere
Okay.
around there. So for me, $650, I mean, granted, I paid $150 at the time. If I were to have to spend $650 now, I probably still would do it. I'd
Oh,
probably have to
okay.
sell some stuff, and
Mhm.
because this is my grail of so many childhood memories of
Okay.
playing this growing up and going through it and spending hours. I spent hours on this game. It's like an RPG, it's a beat 'em up. Uh, it's super fun. So I would say for me, it, it is worth the $650 for the sealed copy. And I got
Nice.
this cool little like acrylic case for it too, so it's nice.
Like, that's like a hard shell case, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this opens up at the bottom, and I bought this at one of the cons because I knew I had this at home, and I
Okay.
wanted to
Is
display it
that
and take good care of it.
like a
Excellent.
collector protector case or
It is not. This is before the
no? It's the
collector
other.
protector.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one has like, I don't know if you could see, but it has like this bottom part that slides out like
Okay.
this.
Yeah.
So it is a
Nice.
little different. So it actually, when it sits, it's raised off of the
Boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
off of the table a
Nice.
little bit.
There
So
you go.
yeah, that's my number 2.
Nice. So Keith was saying, so Bryce had called in and asked a question. He left a voicemail early on, and he was asking if our number one game, right, with the price
Mhm.
tag, what we think the game should be worth. Essentially,
Yeah.
we'll kind of answer that without saying what our number ones are, and then we'll get to
Okay.
Okay.
the other voicemails as well, and then we'll
I
we'll
like it.
reveal our number ones.
Okay.
Who wants to? You
So
gonna go, Keith?
Russ, what's you? No, we'll go with you first because you're going to
Okay.
be revealing yours first, so we don't get too out of order here. Even though we're kind of flying on the seat of our pants here today. What do you think your number one is worth? Should it actually be worth?
Should actually be worth. I would definitely have it under $100. Maybe sit at like 70 or $80, I think would be a good price for it. Where it sits now, it's pretty up there.
Okay.
We'll say. Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
we allowed to ask like the system,
I
or
would say no.
or
I'd
is
say
it
let's
just
yeah,
okay?
No
just keep
questions.
it as yeah, no
Okay, no
questions.
questions, just that.
I'm going to say
Okay.
my number one should be worth $60.
$60.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. My number 1, um, given the rarity of it, um, I would probably say, only because of the rarity, I would maybe
Okay.
go 80 to 90, but it's
Okay.
probably still not even worth that.
So we're all under $100 for our number one, what we personally think these should be worth, but they're quite worth more in our collection as our number one,
Yes.
which we will get to. We got a few voicemails pertaining to our topic here. And again, you can call into the show. We have a phone number that is 949-682-9277. Leave us a voicemail, and you could even text as well because Bryce sent us a text message and I can read the text message on the phone. So let's hear some more voicemail.
I keep dreaming about my dream phone.
It's for you.
What's up, Weekly Warpipe? It's your boy NES Addict. I was calling because the weekly rental was Super Metroid.
Yeah.
Super choice. Whoever chose that, congrats. That game is incredible. So I just want to say a couple quick things about it. First off, I never played it as a kid, but I have very distinct memories of the commercial where the guy was like, "Oh, sir, here's going up against whatever." Or exactly the word, but the point is, it's like a little chihuahua. No, it's like a big, mean dog, and then when he comes out from
Right.
playing Super Metroid, he's like
That's
a
right.
little chihuahua. It punked him down. It was such a tough game. I remember it says something like something worlds and weirdos. Anyway, I'm not going to try to recreate the commercial because clearly I'm not remembering it very adequately. So the other thing I want to say is what really made me want to play Super Metroid was our old friend Chris, NES Complex,
Mhm.
did an
Mm.
incredible retrospective on that game as he claims it is his favorite Super Nintendo game, and what a great choice. And if you have not gone to watch NES Complex's retrospective of Super Metroid, what are you doing with your life? Go watch it immediately after this. Don't forget to like, comment on this video, and help Russ's algorithm as I'm downshifting gears in my car while I'm driving to the gas station. Okay, I'm out of here, guys. I'll stop live and
Thanks, Jay,
Gonna
so much for
ask if
calling
he
in.
was driving through a tunnel or not, but I guess we know the answer.
At first, I'm gonna be honest with you, I thought it was my audio issue with StreamYard,
Right.
and then I was like, "Am I gonna tap out here again?"
That's okay, that's okay. Appreciate you calling in, Jay. Yeah, definitely NES Complex. If you haven't watched that YouTuber,
Yeah.
been around for quite some time. He's got fantastic videos. Check out his video on Super Metroid for
And
sure.
you know what? I might agree with Jay here. This might be my favorite SNES
Super NES
game.
game. We'll see, we'll see. We got 2 more voicemails here.
Weekly Warpipe, what's going on? This is Colby from Purge and Splurge Drifting, chiming in
Hmm.
on this week's topic about the expensive games.
Yeah.
I don't have any per se like 500,000 huge games like that. I would say I have more expensive, like obscure games, and I have a decent amount of my NES collection. I'm around 450 to 500 on the NES library right now, and
Wow.
I also include third-party titles. So one of those
Yeah.
third-party titles I actually got for Christmas a couple years ago. I used to work as an exterminator, and I was gifted Pest Terminator for Christmas, complete in the box.
Wow,
Not too
okay.
many extermination pest control type games out there, so it was kind of neat when I was working in that field. Um, you asked if it's worth it. I appreciated that it was a gift. Would I say it's a very good game? No, it's a terrible game. It is very splotchy gameplay. The graphics aren't that great. Some of those third-party companies manufacturing Nintendo games back then were not very good. I don't know. I think it might be a Color Dreams game now that I'm thinking of it, so that would make sense. Not a lot of them are very good. But nonetheless, I appreciate having it in my collection. But would I pay it again? I certainly wouldn't pay it. Like I said, I got it as a gift, but I don't think I would necessarily spend the $150 to $200 that it's worth. I probably would save that for something I truly would enjoy and be able to replay. So unfortunately, this one is it's a shelf dweller. It doesn't get out to be used very often, but it's got a pretty cool cover case and it looks nice in my display. So that's what I got for you on an expensive game. Cheers, guys.
Excellent. Thanks, Colby, for calling in. A quick side story on that game, Pest Storminator. If you guys are local, Retro Games Plus is the game store I used to work at. Chris owns that chain. Chris also does Retro World Expo and SoCal Expo. That game, Pest Terminator, was one of the first games he had gotten and resold, and kind of was like, hey, I can kind of get into this reselling of video games and maybe open a store. And I remember he had a copy, complete in box of that game. he had gotten back, and so he put it in his little like shrine showcase at the store. I remember, so that's pretty
Nice.
cool. We got one more here.
Hey, dudes, this is your web guy, Tom, calling in to say, whoa, your website update is totally radical. It's like live right now. It's like cranked up the blast processing and took it straight to level 10 awesomeness. That's what it's like. Seriously, you'll love the new look, super smooth navigation, and all the retro goodness packed in. So make sure you dial in and check it out. Cowabunga, dudes.
Thanks, Tom. What is he? He's doing the online. Like, I love it. So that's Tom, our web designer. I guess we have our website is up and running with the new vamp, the weekly warpipe.com. You guys can check out that website. We did an overhaul of it. There's bio sections. There's our media. They got the shows breaking up into sections in case you want to just hear all the quote shows, Rad and Bogus, Vintage Toy Box, and all that. There's a lot to look around. Um, Contact on there, newsletter you could sign up for. It looks great on mobile and desktop. So the weeklywarpipe.com. Check it out. Big shout out to Tom for hooking that up. And Dave, him and Tom were going back and forth. I kind of jumped in a little bit and gave my okay, but they definitely revamped it and it looks professional. We're excited to go ahead. New look and everything.
And it's out now.
Out
It's
now.
available now when this is being aired.
So check it out. Sweet. So those are our voicemails. We're going to get back to the main topic here of what our number one most expensive game in our collection is. And is it worth it? All right, I'm doing my reveal. I'm going.
Yeah, and what did you say you thought yours should be priced at?
I said like 60 to 80 bucks.
Okay, let's see it.
So coming off, again, this is with cart and manual added into it.
Okay.
$1,017 is the
Wow.
combined total for none other than
For the benches, eh?
You might have guessed it since I had one in my collection already and we told a quick story, but that is Jack Bros on the Virtual Boy. I have the manual, I have the cart right here. So the manual itself is 300 smackaroonies just for some paper. 304 to be exact, and the cart itself is $713. A
Gee.
very unique game. I've played it a few times on my Virtual Boy. Cool concept for sure. And when I had set out to get a complete Virtual Boy set, this is the most expensive Virtual Boy game. I'm like, I don't know if I can ever spend that money to get that one game, because I'm going up the all right, let's get Mario Clash, let's get Mario Tennis, like these cheap $60 games, maybe $80. You start climbing the rails. I'm like, can I spend 700 something dollars on a game here? And so the only reason I did end up getting it is because I bought everything as a lot, which made it worth it in the price I got it for. Then whatever Virtual Boy games I would have doubles, I can then sell to kind of recoup some money. But over $1,000, is it worth it? Now there's no nostalgia value to this because I didn't play this game growing up, never had it growing up, just only played it recently. I'd play it for 60 to $80. It's a fun game. It's got a neat concept, but that's what I probably think it's worth it. As it sits now, definitely not.
Is the $60 to $80 including the manual or just for the cart?
I guess that would be just for the cart. Yeah, no
Just for the
manual.
cart. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, that's
Pricey one.
$1,000.
Top
That's
me
crazy.
for sure.
Yeah.
You're way up on me. I guess depending on well, maybe no, because it'd still be way up on me. We use Canadian pesos. So my number one is I think it should be worth about $60, which is actually what I paid for it. And my number one is going to be Bucky
Ooh, nice.
O'Hare CIB. So CIB US dollars. This is about a $600 game. It's about $149 loose. I picked this one up at a flea market store. there was always this one case. This guy was always selling Nintendo games, and I walked in there one day. This is about 6 years ago, and this was sitting in there, and it had a price tag of $60 on it. So I went to the front
Wow.
and I asked the lady at the front. I was like, "Can I look at that?" So I went back, she pulled it out. I looked at it, opened up. I'm like, "This is CIB." It was like, I at the
Nice.
time I wasn't super NES knowledgeable, but I had seen and I knew this was a pricier game. I was like, "Are you sure he wants $60 for this?" She's like, "Yeah, that's what he said." I asked 3
Nice.
times,
That's
Wow.
and
crazy.
Just your
I
conscience,
paid
like,
right? I paid $60, and then I ran across the parking lot.
So
And I
I would
got in and
too.
I price charted it, and I was like, "No way," because in Canadian dollar, I paid 60 Canadian dollars for this. In
Mhm.
oh,
Canadian
wow.
dollars today, this one is worth 860 Canadian pesos.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, we're going with US dollars, about 600. Uh, Canadian price is a little bit higher due to the exchange rate, but CIB has everything in it. The box does have a little bit of like it's got a little crease there, nothing major, but that is my number one. For me, it's about a $860 game here, but for you guys, it's about 600 bucks.
There we
And
go.
when you purchased it,
I was
do you know
running.
what it was going for at that time?
I think it was in like the $500 range, to be honest with you,
Okay.
back
So
then.
it hasn't gone up much
So
since then.
no, probably. Well, that might have been even Canadian. I don't even know. I was
Oh,
probably looking
okay.
at American price back then because I
Wow.
didn't really realize. But yeah. So is it worth $60? Yeah, it's a really fun game because
Mhm.
you're trying to save the other characters, and then it's like a Mega Man style
Mhm.
playthrough to
Yeah.
it. You can swap the other characters. It's a really fun game. I'd pay $60 for it. I'd probably pay $60 for it loose, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
But no, super fun game, worth 60 bucks. Definitely not worth the price tag that we're
Wow.
seeing nowadays.
Cool. All
There
right.
we
Well,
go.
my number one clocks in at now mine is box and cart, no manual.
Okay.
And that is Buster Douglas Boxing.
Interest. Wow. Never heard
Wow.
that on this one.
Wow.
This can you guys want to take a guess of what it clocks in for? Did I tell you? No.
No.
What are you thinking? This goes for
Six. Oh,
$742 box and cart alone.
Wow.
seven. So is it 1,000 with manual, I wonder?
Yeah, it's a close to it, I think.
Okay.
The box I think is around 350
Yeah.
With
and the
hang tab,
cart
eh?
is with hang tag, yes. And then here's the inside. It is a Sega Master System game. And so I think the
Yeah.
reason why this was is apparently this is like one of the rarest games on the system.
Okay.
Wow.
Maybe because it was towards the tail end. I'm not really sure. Um, the story behind this actually, and this will never ever be sold out of my collection. And the reason for that is because this was gifted to me. Um, my really good friend Rick, who may be watching, I have not told him that this is worth $742.
Oh,
Um, so Rick, if you're listening, we'll have a conversation. Um, but he was one year he was kind of cleaning his house and he was going to basically get rid of his Sega Master System. So he called me up and he said, "Hey, I know you're into retro games. I'm going to be getting rid of my games. These were my childhood games. Would you like a Sega Master System? I got the zapper, I got the controllers, I got the cords, I got, I don't know, 15 games or something like that."
Okay.
And this was in there. Now, this sat in my basement on like storage side for a few years. And then my friend Rob came over, Rob Krosky, who is part of Dead Media Junkies. Check them out. He came over and I was like, "Hey, here's the lot of I had no idea this was in there. I had no idea what it was worth." And he just like yoinked it right out and he was like, "You only have like the rarest game on the system." And then I looked it up
nice.
and I was like, "What? Why is a boxing game
Yeah.
$742. And I guess maybe because, first of all, the licensing,
Right.
this I think was only released. I think there's like maybe a PAL version and this version, and this doesn't exist on any other system. Um, and I guess it was maybe low, I don't know, low quantities or something.
Right. Right.
But it blows my mind that this thing is $742. If
No doubt.
it was up to me, I would say maybe because of the rarity, 70 to 80.
Okay.
But I mean, that's only because of rarity. If not, it's a boxing game, guys. It's not as good as Mike Tyson's Punch Out.
Yeah.
It does have some. I mean, it kind of looks like Ring King or something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I could see
Yeah.
that. Ring King.
So it's not really exciting or anything like that. It's not like that like first person kind of look. So James Buster Douglas knockout boxing knocked out Mike Tyson.
For price. Yeah.
No, and
Right.
in real
Oh,
life,
in real life.
this was Mike Tyson's first loss.
Wow. Okay. How about that?
So
Wow.
there you go. That's my number one. I do have a couple of honorable mentions. I don't know if you guys have that.
No, I
No.
didn't put any.
I have
Mine
really
just did
two.
District 5.
I'll just do one quick one.
Okay.
One quick one. And the only reason I'm mentioning it is because this actually clocks higher than that. And it is, I have it. It's right here. Let me grab it over here. It is a sealed Master Edition Breath of the Wild. So this has
Oh, wow.
a Hylian. I'm sorry, the Master Sword is in here. It's like a little statue. It's got the game. It's got a bunch of other stuff, but it is sealed. I got this at Retro World Expo one year that me and Russ were there. I traded a bunch of amiibo, and I think he was asking like 300 at the time. That's what it was going for, sealed. And now it's up to $908.94.
Nice.
So
Nice.
pretty expensive, and I'll never open it, and I'll probably never get rid of it because Breath of the Wild is one of my favorite games. So it's
Nice.
basically just a cardboard box sitting on my shelf.
Fair enough.
Is it worth it? No, because it's sealed and I can't enjoy the Master Sword, so it's not
Right.
worth $900. I probably wouldn't spend $900. I would probably spend the open price so I can display the sword.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, so that's my honorable mention.
Sweet. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that topic of most expensive games in our collection and if they're worth it.